Jingle bell, jingle bell rock.
Is this our third Christmas with Newbie Star Trek? I think it's our third Christmas.
Is it?
Might even be our fourth.
It could be the fourth.
Did we not begin in September of 2020?
But I feel like the first year we did this podcast, we didn't do anything for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Well, then that might be it.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think we did something for April Fools, but we didn't do anything for Christmas. Because April Fools is a more important holiday. So, yeah.
Well, you know, you can gear up and do something specific for that. Yeah. And by that point, there had been more time
to have fun. Yes. But yeah, hey everybody, welcome to our now kind of annual Christmas AMA thing. Mm-hmm. So we've done it a few times, but this time we're doing it through questions we fielded from our Discord. In that case, if you want to be a member of our Discord, you can get some other perks too, like you get early access to new episodes, etc. You can always head on over to our YouTube channel and then just join our channel. It's only $1.99. Like I said, it gets you early access to new episodes, YouTube ad-free versions of those episodes, and you get access to that members-only Discord where all of these questions were asked. So yeah, let's get into it. First question. I wanted to start off strong. So that awesome guy says, fuck, marry, kill, who would you choose for each?
Okay, now I saw this and I was wondering are we being asked to set the parameters of an FMK question? Because my understanding of these questions is usually that the kill is supposed to be a difficult choice.
I think we could just choose anyone we want that we know of in the Star Trek universe. So the kill is a fantasy at this point.
I thought it was a question directed to like the hosts.
Yeah, some of the people, the people in Discord thought that was, but then he clarified he meant Star Trek characters.
I guess that would be a little weird to answer.
That would be a little weird for us to do that to each other.
I was like,
I wouldn't
okay.
do that.
I will kill all of you.
Like all three myself.
All three myself. I love
that. That's an easy answer.
Oh, yeah, that one's easy. Next question.
I mean, eventually I'll kill myself. Like
someday,
one day. Well, yeah, fuck, marry, kill. That's. I mean, maybe I can go first.
What show though?
I think just across all of the Star Treks we know.
Well, okay, but the issue with just choosing becomes like, well, then who's the hottest people we have ever seen on Star Trek?
Yeah,
that's the easier question to ask.
Famke Janssen.
See, I would have also said Kamala.
Yeah, that's a go-to, right?
Yeah,
I think everybody thought of her.
But also, I thought of Deanna Troi hologram version from the beginning of Hollow Pursuits. That version of Deanna Troi is, for some reason, extremely attractive. And I'm not exactly sure why.
Okay.
Whereas otherwise, I think she's fine.
Hair is on point with that too.
Yeah, but I think everyone's go-to is Kamala.
Kamala, I think that's how they were pronouncing it.
Did they say Kamala or did they say
sure
Kamala?
They said it that way in that episode.
Okay, Kamala.
I don't want to equate these people.
Well, no, not Harris, obviously. No.
We're talking about Leopard Spot.
Yeah, Leopard Spot.
Yeah, the proto-trill. That wasn't a trill.
Oh, okay. Yes, right. Yes, and so we all agree fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could marry her also.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. She was great.
Well, Picard wanted to, right?
I mean, I kind of want to marry Riker. I mean, Riker is just, he seems like...
that's my choice. No,
I feel like he'd be a really good husband. Also, I'm privy to the future...
We're not blocking anybody, dude. you get picked. It's not real.
Yeah, we all picked
but it is
Kamala, real. So...
I would marry, Jonathan Frakes, yeah. So
Jonathan Frakes, not Riker.
Yeah, like we need to be specific here now.
Jonathan Frakes, also, from Beyond Belief.
So Beyond Belief, Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what if you couldn't get all of that much? Like if you couldn't have all of the Frakes, but only the TNG Frakes?
That's fine. I'll go for that.
Okay.
He's hot.
Then we can keep it to the parameters of the question.
Yeah, he's definitely a Mary. I guess there might be some concerns about stepping out, but I think if he's married, he'll be okay.
What's the lady that the Tapatio hot hand lady?
Kalar?
Yeah, Kalar.
Kalar, yeah. Famke,
Okay.
Kalar, and Beverly.
I mean, Beverly would be. That's an easy one.
Wait, kill? Is this for kill?
Yep.
Beverly would be his kill. Yeah. I mean, I knew that off the bat.
His revenge.
Kill,
His revenge for killing her husband.
It's a revenge killing.
Maybe Q, but we can't.
Are
do
there
that.
any parameters on kill? Because like you could just choose any of the evilest people that we've seen.
But I agree with killing Q.
I mean, yeah. Q, you can, be annoyed with enough to be like, fine, we can be without.
What about Venom?
We could kill Venom and prevent Tasha from ever
Which
dying.
Venom? Which of like the 6?
The OG Venom. Venom.
Okay. Yar Killer Venom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we get in there.
That's an easy target. Or any number of boards.
You know what? I changed my mind. Beverly.
It's still Beverly.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make an impact.
Yeah. Dude.
All right. Did we all choose a fuck, marry, kill?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, like I generally agreed with the choices offered.
All right, we did it.
We all did TNG people, which is interesting.
Well, I guess if we needed to talk about DS9, then who on DS9?
I had mildly considered Kira, specifically season 6 Kira, but
4?
you haven't seen season 6
Yeah,
Kira yet.
you can't
As
jump
which
ahead,
of the
dude.
3?
No spoilers.
Oh,
Kira
as
for
the
what?
fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a spoiler, so I can't say
You
why.
just spoiled it, dude. You can't say something and then say it's
Like
a spoiler.
spoilers. She gets
Yeah,
really
dude.
hot.
Yeah, she gets really hot in season 6, dude.
Well, look
You know
forward
what,
to it.
dude?
Look forward to really hot Kira.
You know
there
what?
Wow, okay.
Marvin, dude. Just because he spoiled it.
Thanks, Marvin. Jeez.
All right, question number 2 from Coco Luca 89. What would your go-to non-sexual holodeck program be? Because otherwise,
non-sexual.
I mean, I already had my
Say
answer.
again. Can you repeat that question?
What would your go-to non-sexual holodeck program be?
Oh, okay. I have an answer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would choose to explore space and like go to different I don't
Using
know,
the
like,
holodeck?
Yeah, if there were like an earthbound holodeck that you could use to explore space.
Fly through space, like go see galaxies and stars like up close and other
Like Moriarty,
planets.
because Moriarty
Yeah.
ended up being tricked into doing that, essentially.
Yeah, and heck, if you were in a holodeck, you could ostensibly, provide yourself a fantasy where you get to just fly around at your leisure across space,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
would
way
love
cooler
that.
than being in a spaceship, honestly.
Yeah, I would love that experience. I think that would feel really good.
Mhm.
And it would be nice to know that hopefully there's no danger involved since it's a holodeck.
Well, it's a holodeck.
so.
You will
you will be in danger.
threatened.
That's the
You'll be
thing, yeah.
endangered.
It will malfunction at one point, and it
Oh,
will
God.
kill you.
Well, hopefully the odds are in my favor, but that would be mine.
I had 2. One is just a pleasant one. Hot springs while it's snowing. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Oh.
Dan, I have somewhere to take you in Alaska.
With
Oof, I've done it.
also just to spice it
You
up a
can't
bit,
say that like that.
a non-diegetic music of my choosing
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
get to play. That plays everywhere in my ears. That doesn't have to come from a speaker.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
also-
good.
Really? Okay.
Also, if it was able to accurately reproduce live concerts of bands that I
Yep.
like,
Oh, that's a good
Yes.
one. Yeah.
I would just mess around in those.
Yeah, and then the ones who are dead, too. Like,
Exactly. All of those.
Concerts for sure. I didn't know we could have more than one because concerts definitely.
that's pretty good. I mean, my go-to since I was a kid has always been, I would love to use it to just be able to create any movie set I ever wanted to shoot in.
Right.
Because that's the hardest part of movie making to me, which is I gotta go to this fucking place and I gotta go set up.
Right.
It'd be great if the holodeck would just let me do it. Like,
Oh,
okay.
I know. I
Yeah.
want to see dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there you
pretty
go.
good. Yeah, that's
Oh, boy.
classic. It's a classic
Yeah.
use of the holodeck.
I'd want to
You're
see dinosaurs.
definitely going to get eaten.
Yeah, they will turn evil and violent. Yeah.
Well, they're evil. They're animals.
And then someone will say, computer, make a dinosaur that can challenge Data. And it'll
It'll
end
make
up creating-
Moriarty Saurus.
No, it'll create Theodore Rex. And Theodore Rex will then become a villain that can challenge more.
No, wait. Okay, you need to request the holodeck to create a villain powerful enough to defeat Theodore Rex. That's how you get Moriarty Saurus.
This is what happens. You ask it to for a dinosaur that could beat Data,
Mm.
and it makes a baby from dinosaurs. Not the
Yeah.
baby, not the mama, and then it just annoys Data till the Data just offs himself.
But Data can't be annoyed. That's the problem.
He can be. He hasn't met this baby, dude.
I have this podcast to thank for teaching me that the finale of that show was just them
dying,
succumbing to the ice age and dying.
Yeah.
From their own doing, their own society's doing.
Yeah. They didn't protect their own environment and died.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing like us.
Yeah.
No, that can happen to us, dude.
No way.
We have CEOs to protect us.
They have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
They sure do.
It's me and Luigi. What else? Concerts?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll finish off the Waterworld trilogy. Just experiencing it live. You know what I mean?
You need to know what the rest of it would have been like.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Was it a trilogy that only got one installment made?
I've been trying to push that lie for years, and it hasn't caught on.
But then if you create the holodeck version of it, then it's not a lie anymore.
Damn it. So it's not based on anything real?
No, it's something I've been talking about for years.
Also, Waterworld, like they find land. It's no longer about water.
Yeah, well, part 2 is going to be Sand World.
Like the movie ends like.
I watched that movie for the first time recently.
Sand World is part 2, and then Gaseous World is part 3.
Sky
Were they
World.
really like painted sea doos in it?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Nice.
The bad guy's vessel is just a big oil tanker.
Fantastic.
It's a good movie, dude.
It was a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. I saw it recently this year.
It's a fable about global warming and the rise of the sea.
I saw the Universal show, which really set the bar high for the movie.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
but it delivered, right? It delivered the movie?
I mean, I like the show better, but the movie was pretty good. I was not disappointed.
It's a paper.
Yeah, but the movie didn't even try to splash you with water at all.
I know. What the fuck? Come on.
No pyrotechnics either.
Yeah, and no plane fucking
you gotta watch
landing.
It in 3D. You gotta watch it in 3D. That's
yeah, it was amazing. The Universal show is awesome.
All right.
I stand by that movie. I think it's a great movie.
That's a good movie.
I think it is a fun, dumb watch. That's what I would say.
It's dumb.
Oh my
Hell
God.
Yeah,
the other
it's
day
dumb.
I discovered a Solar Babies type movie and I noted it down somewhere and I forgot. Like it was
I'm sorry.
It was in the same genre, same thing, where they it's futuristic. Oh fuck. I know who was in it. I'm going to look it up.
You were figuring it out live, folks.
Yeah.
He's doing it live.
Keep going.
All right. Well, our third question is from Felice. And Felice asks, what Star Trek characters are your cat's personalities most like? So this is a question for me, Sarah, and Ricardo, actually. So,
yeah, that one's for y'all.
So I should introduce our cats, I guess, in case people weren't aware. We have 3 cats. We have Evie, who we think is like a ragdoll snowshoe mix. So she's very fluffy. She has blue eyes, big paws, etc. We have Bobby, who is a traditional American bobtail. So he looks like a tabby cat, but he has a bobtail, very short tail. And then we have Bernie, who is a smoky tabby. Basically, he's a
ghost tabby.
Well, that's the other term because Sarah loves ghosts. The top coat is black, but his undercoat is white. And he has a goatee, like a literal goatee.
He does.
So Bobby,
and he's our baby.
Yeah, he's the most baby-like. So
and the youngest. So
he's like Jake. Bernie might be like Jake. Just because it's like the best kid character who isn't shitty in the show I can think of.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I think Bobby's like a Geordie. He's well-meaning, very nervous, but he's a little creepy.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, Bobby, the creep factor is he likes to watch me sleep.
He likes to watch people sleep. He likes to really deeply smell the other cat's butts. But he's also kind of skittish. He runs away a lot.
He's very nervous. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
not afraid. He's not I don't know how to describe it. He's just he's not afraid of things. He's not anxious. He's just he just likes to run away on a whim. But
I think that is anxious though.
But it's not oh my God, I'm so scared. It's he's just very skittish, but not in a terrified way. I don't know how to describe it.
The only thing that doesn't match is that Bobby is hyper athletic. He's the most athletic cat I've ever seen. So I don't know if that really matches with Geordie so well. And for Evie, I think Evie's kind of like Worf because she's big and tough.
Worf.
And probably
she is, and she's all about honor. And
she probably cares a lot about honor and traditions.
She cares a lot about about hierarchy. You know,
yes, she does. She likes being top chicken.
She is in charge.
She's also the most willing to confront new threats.
Yes, it's true.
Yes.
She loves food.
Yeah.
Worf also loves food.
Yeah,
she'll eat anything like Worf. Yeah. So yeah. Oh,
I think that's pretty accurate. I would agree with that.
I think. I'm not sure, but yeah. What about you, Ricardo? What about your kittens?
One of them's really old and sleeps all the time. Mm-hmm. Probably like Sarek.
Perfect.
One of them's really like fat,
you know, when I took care of her,
husky.
she was really spry. I don't know.
Well, she was waiting.
So
to
was
get
Sarek
fed.
when he was having like murder nightmares.
Yeah.
So
She was very spry.
Well, because you were feeding her.
Yeah.
Was your cat like on a cold, hard table?
Yeah. And one of them's orange and just this is crazy.
Yeah, she's.
I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know who's crazy. I guess
Wesley.
No, not really. EQ. Very
Yeah, I was
chaotic.
gonna say
oh
cute.
really? She's that chaotic. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your middle one? I missed your middle one. What's
She's
your
just chunky and like just kind of just likes to chill and eat and be cool.
Rigby
Yeah.
Who likes
She's
to
a
just
chonker.
eat?
likes to eat and be chill.
But no, she's
Maybe
not chill. She's just angry. She just likes to be angry.
That's Worf like too, though. Worf
I
loves
guess
being
so.
angry.
Yeah. Just wants
Let's
to be
just
left
say
alone.
Gowron.
Oh, Gowron's good. Yeah, let's make her Gowron.
Gowron, the Klingon.
Yeah.
Current head of the Klingon Empire.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Let's make
actually.
her Gowron. Yeah. All right. Next question is from SpitfireMoron. If an apocalypse were to happen, how long do you think you'd survive? Would you join or start a group? What would your role be in that group?
Oh, I can go first on this. I would die immediately.
Yeah, I wouldn't last very long.
I would be part of no group. I would be part of the group that dies the moment it happens because I don't have it in me.
See, when
I don't want to survive, to be honest. I think I'm good.
See, when I was younger, I thought I was badass, and I'd be like, "Oh no worries, I'll definitely figure out a way to survive." And as I've gotten older, I realized how fragile and lame I am. So I don't think
take me. It would be a blessing. Please, God, take me. Like, yes, no, I don't have any fight in me, so no.
The only wrinkle that I would toss in there for myself is the length of time I survive would depend a lot on whether I'm around people I feel responsible for.
Yeah.
Well, in what way? Like, what would influence it?
I don't know. Whoever's around me, and if I care about them, we'll see.
Will that make you live longer or shorter?
Longer.
Okay, longer. Okay. All right.
For them.
Okay.
I guess I would do that for my cats. Like, as long as they're around, I would
2 days
try.
in, we're eating your cats, dude. So
that's where I give up. That's where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna die then because I'll let them eat me. That's for sure. But.
What I think it depends. It depends who else survives around me.
Well,
I think as you get older, you realize like, oh, if you want to survive in that world, you have to be ruthless. Meaning, literally, like just. And I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
You have to be willing to eat your cat.
Yeah,
if it comes down to it.
I'm okay with that as well.
Okay, let's say we did survive long enough to be part of a group. What would our role in that group end up being?
I don't think we would be in a group.
No, not in our. Let's say we survived in general. So you think you'd be a loner? No.
I just you can't. The more people you have, the more likely you are to die.
Is that what you really think?
Yeah.
Because you have to like be cut off. You have to be
everyone for themselves.
But that's how society was.
If there's
created.
no food, then we're all gonna die. No, I'm gonna kill you and eat you.
But if people work collectively together, they can accomplish more things.
That's not how it
there's no
works.
rules, Marvin.
In an apocalypse, it's literally every person for themselves.
That's like a young fantasy, a young person's fantasy. Like, oh, we would all get along and we build communities.
It's a
like,
young man's fantasy.
You don't have what it takes to survive. not you, but like other people I've talked to with this stupid fantasy. I'm like, you don't have what it takes, so I would leave you behind.
I actually really agree with you.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we're dead then.
I mean, if I had to pick, I would probably be in a role that's like planning or some kind of taking inventory of things, making sure we have enough.
That's the first person I'm killing.
The inventory thing makes sense, but the planning,
like thinking like, okay, what's our next steps? Like, what are we working towards?
Here's the thing: is in the type of scenario,
what's plan A? What's plan B? What's
in that
plan
type
C?
of scenario, there's only one plan, which is survive or die.
Survive, yeah.
That's it. There's no plan
I mean,
B.
I could probably like find food and inventory things and like cook. I could cook. I could do that.
Well, I mean, the goal would be to establish like renewable sources of energy and food and things like that.
Oh, renewable energy. That's pipe dream at that
point. I'm not smart enough to come up with like
just food. I'm
just food
and like
scratch the energy.
It's really food and how long you want to survive.
Food and water and
it's a fight
and
till the
bullets and guns.
Yeah,
that's really.
See, this is why I'm dying because I don't have any of the skills to hunt, to track things, to come up with inventions on how to like use things for different purposes. Like I don't have that in me, so this is why I'd be useless.
That's the thing. I think I would only be useful in a post. I would not be useful in Fallout 3. I would be useful in Fallout New Vegas, where people need people to help with like rebuilding things.
Yeah,
because I'm kind of handy.
You're definitely handy.
I know engineering stuff. I can like kind of build stuff, but I can't like really survive like a gunfight. So I need the gunfights to be over and settled. And then now we're rebuilding.
Yeah. This is making me want to buy and read a book by Ryan North called How to Invent Everything that I'm aware of, but never bothered to go get. But
right. Yeah. This is also reminding me of Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks, of which Dan and I, and actually Nate also, who wrote the song.
So we do have former roles in a survival organization. They just weren't pertaining much to survival.
Yeah.
For instance, I am already a treasurer
of the Zombie Survival Club. The UC San Diego.
Vast fortune.
We got a money counter and everything, remember?
Yeah, we did. Which we purchased with all the donations to the Zombie Survival Club,
Are you
remember?
serious?
Yeah. So we did receive a bunch of donations to the Zombie Survival Club, and the first thing we bought was a money counter.
Yeah, that's the story we tell people. It's funny.
Oh my God.
We did have a money counter, though.
Yes.
For real.
It didn't work very well. We tested it a few times, and it was always wrong.
Like, the first thing to go out the window is currency, like the dollar.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's worthless.
Yeah. Like, the Fallout games make fun of it. They say, the currency, we bottle caps. It's like, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
There would be no currency. The currency would be food and people. That's kind of what it would be. So our next question from Penn. This is like the exact opposite question now. If the four of you lived in the Federation's post-scarcity utopia, what would you actually do with your lives? Earth is presented like an ambiguous paradise. All anyone does is drink Chateau Picard, eat soul food, and work towards self-improvement. How would you fill your days? And I guess I kind of wanted to answer it in a way where it's not like, I would definitely, because if I'm being honest, my answer would probably be like, I think I'd like to like make movies and stuff. But if I'm being honest, I think I would probably end up being a huge sloth. And that's
100%.
Yeah, I feel like 100%. That could be my thing. Like, I think the most honest answer or hopeful answer for me would be I would just end up dabbling in more things.
A lot more media, maybe.
Without really becoming an expert at anything, because it's very hard for me to get that dedicated to something.
Right, right.
I would with all that time, I would be like, well, I'm interested in this musical instrument. I would bother to actually go ahead and get it and put some time into it without any pressure of like, this is supposed to turn into something for me later, or, this is supposed to be productive in some way. Like, I'm not wasting my time by pursuing this interest now.
That's true. I feel like there would be less motivation to be a master at something.
Exactly.
Well, especially if money's not involved, because then you don't have to put this investment behind like learning stuff.
Yeah, because then you don't have to be good at it, good enough at something to earn with it.
If it's all about self-enjoyment, all you're measuring is against how much you enjoy it. So,
which our society actively teaches us not to enjoy ourselves and to just consume and
right. So, like, that's the aspect of society that I like to tap into in this supposedly post-scarcity world. Another big thing that I would like to like learn how to do, assuming post-scarcity, is cooking, because I don't like to practice cooking because it feels wasteful.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't have enough people to eat what I would try to do, or, other things like that. So it's like...
It's also true because, like, when I first started to learn cooking, I did, like, mess up a lot. And then you go, man, I just wasted a bunch of stuff. But, you I forced myself to eat it anyway, unless it was like inedible. Like there's one time I made, this is why I always warn people about this. One time I made like an acid-based soup. It was like tomato-based.
When you just say, when you begin with acid-based, that sounds terrible.
Well, because the acid in the tomatoes was done in an aluminum pan.
Oh,
so
no.
Oh shit.
It was a complete, utter, unsalvageable thing. And I wasn't tasting along the way. So yeah, that's why I always warn people, oh my God, do not put like acids in aluminum. It's really not a good idea. And that, that wasted a bunch of food. And I'm very much not like Sarah knows this. I'm like hyper against food waste. I really don't like it. So yeah, that is a consideration.
Yeah. So that's what I would do.
I would garden, and I agree with Dan. I agree with Dan in learning hobbies without the pressure and the monetary buy-in of a hobby or something that you want to learn. Like I would love to learn how to play an instrument or learn a new language or, just random stuff. Learn how to actually make things like metalwork and building things.
Oh, metalwork. Oh.
Yeah, I would love to like just build things, but I all of that, I have no idea how to do any of that. So that would cost a lot of money and time. And
I think I am among several people who are on like, YouTube shorts or whatever, and they keep getting shown like woodworking shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, that looks so fun and cool and like nice to get into, but it's like, I don't have space for all of that. I don't have time, or like, I don't have the money to gather all that, like, and turn that into a real thing. Like it would become such a huge undertaking to start that you don't feel like trying.
Well, it's not feel like trying. It's like often you can't. I mean, how do you even get into something
provided
like
that you even do have the wherewithal, like when do you find the time and that sort of thing. But
and the space. But if that was no worry, then gosh, sky's the limit. And I would love to garden and grow the food that I consume. I think that's so cool, people that do that. But that requires space, time, money, resources, things like that. All things society doesn't want us to have, us regular people to have. What else? Yeah, I would also just rest, relax, read more.
Probably be a lot more sleep in my life. Yeah.
Enjoy myself. Life would probably feel nice, like not as rushed, I guess.
Yeah.
It would be nice to kind of slow down and enjoy moments without the pressure.
But crucially, I will need to have at least lived some of my current life before entering that scenario.
I guess because you need the comparison.
Yeah, I need that comparison, or else I don't think I'd appreciate what's going on there.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
I'd probably join like an enterprise type ship.
Oh, really?
Explore. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like traveling. But
I guess so. That's why people are just on the
where we're just fucking Ubering people. Like no, it's like I want to go on an exploration mission. If not, I would rather not go. If we're gonna be Ubering people, I'll check out. I'd be like no.
But that is why I guess in at least the premise of the show, why there's just tons of people on the Enterprise. They just just like hanging out, and seeing places, and
build a car, rebuild a car.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's
Are you going to be like that guy that built a Ferrari
fun
in his basement? And then
I would like to take apart a car and then put it back together. Like take it apart down to the last bolt and then try to build it together.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
That's neat.
That's so interesting.
Huh. And at that point in the future, that'd be like almost like an archaeological thing. Yeah.
Also, like you could rebuild a car like of your dreams because you could just build the parts in the rotator.
That's true. That would be a neat thing to not replicate exactly what you want, but replicate the parts to build what you want and the joys. Like replicate a Lego set, or replicate something. Yeah,
like think about it like 3D printing.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate 3D printing because like you would print the parts, but then you still have to put it together.
Yeah, replicate me a Lego set.
Yeah.
Don't make me the model already. Just give me the set.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, we enjoy the process of building.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Man, that you've made me think of a life that's never going to exist. Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It felt nice for a moment.
All right. Next question from Buzzmonkey. Newbie number 1. If you could be any race in Star Trek, which race would you be and why? Newbies 2 to 4. Same question. So basically, just a joke.
Ooh. If we could
Which
be
is
any
the dating
race.
game for the youngins who don't know what that is.
Oh my god.
I think I would be a Trill.
Oh.
Would you want to be a host or would you want to be the symbiont?
Exactly.
No, I want to be the worm.
You want to be the worm. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you want to like live through several lives and
several different
and end
lives.
up as a dude a few times.
Oh, okay. That's a dream come true. I think that's so like how amazing would it be? First of all, if one thing about me is I love getting to know people. Yeah, I feel like being a Trill worm is the ultimate way to get to know somebody. You know your host on such an intimate level. It would be so cool to like work together and live multiple lives. And then I can be a girl in one life, a guy in another, a totally different type of alien maybe. And I can share this coexistence with this person that I hopefully respect and can get to know, and we can do life together. So I would definitely be a Trill.
That's pretty cool.
A Trill worm. Yeah.
That's neat. Mm-hmm. I think I want to be an Odo.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I was thinking about like that one, like potentially as like
you want to sleep in a bucket?
You're basically a T-1000.
Yeah,
and you could become anything.
Also, if I like Odo's personality, and I'm like, I kind of want to be an Odo.
Well, are they all like that? I mean, that's just him.
I just think I'd like to be an Odo. I think. I feel like there's a lot of things.
That's not his species.
Let the man be an Odo. Let the man be an Odo.
We don't know his species name yet. That's explicitly something we don't know yet. I'm trying to not spoil anything.
Odosians.
Yeah.
He sleeps in a bucket. Are you okay with that?
That's probably comfortable. Probably. Yeah. You know who doesn't have back pain? Odo.
You're starting to sound racist, Sarah.
Odo doesn't have back pain. He sleeps in a bucket.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, you know what? If I can not have back pain, I'll go with that.
His sleep is probably super comfortable. You know.
Yeah.
In a bucket. Okay. Where would you like to go? Is it appealing to you because you can like shapeshift into things and be secretive and spy on people?
We just said a character. We didn't say what we're going to do. That's our secret.
It's none of my business.
Yeah, none of your business, dude.
Yeah, I'll impersonate you. Yourself. You know, I'll turn into a tree, into a chair. You never know where I am.
Okay.
If I want to get into a concert, I just go underneath the door and get it.
That seems fine.
If I'm cheating, I'm gonna pick, and this is a character I hate. So you know.
Now remember, this was a question about what race you'd be and not what character you would become.
A QAnon.
A Q. They're all a Q is a species too.
QAnon.
You become a Q. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Then just get godlike powers and do whatever you want.
Yeah, you could rebuild reality. You could do anything.
You could literally do anything.
Would you prefer a Q or the guy who lived on that planet with his fake wife who had Q-like powers? What was that guy's name?
Rick Astley.
The Rick Astley guy.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna
Or is it specifically the Q you would prefer?
Whoever has more power, dude.
Okay. That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, like you could do anything. You could shapeshift. You could make a whole world. You could rebuild transmission Nissan Skyline 1971.
Like I wouldn't mind being a Q so long as no one hassled me about being a Q. If the Q continuum left me entirely alone.
Yeah, like don't ask me for favors. Don't come. Yeah, don't pray to me. Don't. Yeah, like just leave me alone. I'm the opposite of Sarah. I don't want to know what people. I've met enough people. I have enough friends. I don't need any.
Leave me alone.
I'm done.
Yeah. I don't think I have a particular choice, but like I was thinking of either one that you said, like Odo, whatever Odo is, or a Q. Okay. And I've already said my parameters for as to why I would want to be a Q, only if I don't get hassled for being a Q.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's fair. All right.
You don't want to do anyone. You don't want to do favors for anyone.
Well, no, but also the continuum is like there are a bunch of other Qs that seem to have like authority over what you can do with your powers and stuff like that. And,
maybe Rick Astley, because he didn't seem like he
was untethered.
Yeah,
a Dowd. That's always his name. A Dowd.
Oh yeah, he was a Dowd.
That's what he was. Yeah,
a Dowd.
So sure, let's go with the Dowd then.
Yeah, the Dowd guy. Okay, all right. Well, our next question is from IW. IW asks, to the newbies, did you have any preconceptions of Star Trek before starting the podcast that you found out was wrong? And to Dan and Marvin, is there anything in Star Trek that you liked or disliked at the beginning that you've changed your mind about?
Honestly, I don't know.
That's the thing. I had preconceptions about Star Trek already that have largely stayed the same for the most. I mean, there's been a few episodes where I've been like, oh, that was better than I thought it was, or that was way worse than I thought it was. But, you know, that's my overall perception of Star Trek has been roughly the same. Maybe the biggest thing is that I think season 1 is not as bad as I remember. Of TNG specifically.
I think that, that's generally true. TNG, well, season 1s of either TNG and DS9, I'm discovering, have a lot of detractors who will, criticize it into the ground, but it's not really all that bad, especially if that's really what you're starting with. Because it's really worth remembering that when you are new to the show, beginning with the worst stuff does not feel as bad as it will feel later.
Exactly. So
for me, I did have preconceptions about Star Trek. I very much thought it was a daddy's show, that's
define daddy's show.
Well, literally her dad.
Okay, a show for fathers to watch. Okay. That's all we need to get to.
Yeah. It was something like, it was a dad, a boomer thing, maybe. Because my dad's
what? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, define that.
Like golf, I don't know. Like if I can put the feeling of golf, which to me is incredibly boring, and puts me to sleep. Like the minute I hear,
so you thought it was boring, and you thought it was
extremely boring. Because like if I could put like golf in a TV show format, because my dad would watch it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is probably really boring, really stale, pretty vanilla, safe. Like I didn't really understand it. I thought people more liked it for like nostalgia, maybe. And I know people do like it for nostalgia, but as I've watched Star Trek over the past couple years, there's definitely more to it. And as someone who didn't grow up with it, I grew up knowing my dad was watching it, but I didn't grow up watching it. Mm-hmm. I started watching it in my 30s. So I don't have that like nostalgia aspect, but on its own, it's definitely a good show, and it stands the test of time for sure.
I think one part of the context, though, is that your dad, from what I remember, he's way more into TOS. So that's kind of what he watched the most, the original series. Not TNG.
But he watched a lot of TNG too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my dad also likes like really, really boring Westerns and like.
Do you know if your dad continued watching through DS9 and other shows?
Oh, he did not. I know he didn't because I talked to him about it. He has not seen DS9. Yeah.
Define boring Westerns, please. I'm curious now.
I mean, I don't know. Like at least some stuff that I perceived as boring as a child, probably not now. He was probably watching some of the great Western films of our time. And as a kid, I was just like, this is boring.
I mean, the TV shows aren't great. Most of the Western TV shows are really boring, honestly.
But obviously, I was wrong. It's a great show. It has substance. It's not vanilla at all. It's not a daddy show. It's an everyone show. So that was my thought.
I think I probably started from a similar position as Sarah, like way back when. Because like when I was a kid, I've gone over this before, I'm pretty sure. But when I was a kid, I was cartoons or nothing. And so anything that wasn't a cartoon, earned my disdain, including Star Trek. And also so many of the costumes and makeup on the show when I was a kid, I just found repulsively ugly.
Really?
Just across the board. Like
that's so interesting.
Yeah, like all the forehead, like head prosthetic stuff. Like,
you were like, this is ugly.
Well, I would just look at that and be like this looks like it was just like, this is unattractive, like of alien stuff. Well, like these are gross alien people. I don't want to watch this. They're also just walking around a ship and talking. Nothing's exploding most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of the scenes I'd seen as a kid was just a lot of like one or two shots of people talking.
On people talking.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on here? You know,
like conference rooms or sitting on the bridge or in someone's office.
Right.
There wasn't like there is a lot of action, but like if you were to just like flip it on or walk into a room where someone's watching it, you'd likely see somebody in a conference room or a 2-shot of a conversation happening between two characters, and like that's it.
Why is there no background music? Why is there no crowd applause or laughter? What's going on?
Well, I mean, that's not why. Those aren't questions I was asking.
There's like, music. There's music.
I know. But during a lot of the conversation scenes, which happen the most, there isn't that much music usually.
Where's the laugh track? It's the 90s. Come on.
Yeah.
We need a laugh track.
To say that, like I did have that period as a kid where I never gave it a chance, but I was already kind of coming back to into it in my 20s trying to start TNG. Like, I think the first episode of TNG I watched full through was like technically in 2017.
Oh, was that recent?
Yeah, something like that recent.
Do you remember what it was?
Like I just tried to start from Netflix season 1.
Oh, so you started Encounter. Okay.
Yeah, so like I was just trying to get through the show because already at that time I was thinking, well, I am remiss in not knowing Star Trek, nerdy as I am and not knowing this shit. So I should try to know something about it. And by that point I had heard, from conversations with you and with other people, Star Trek's good. It is worth watching. Mm-hmm. Other people I know have already done their first introductory runs through TNG and things like that. Mutual friends of ours.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like let's try this. And I would only get through a few episodes at a time because it was season 1. Mm-hmm. And like by mid season 2, when I hit Measure of a Man was when I was like, okay, like now I get it. This is the good stuff that people want from Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was like, okay, like now I fully understand where people like become the Trek fans that they become.
Yeah. I remember back at our old work, there was a coworker that wasn't me. It was actually a different coworker that kept trying to convince Ricardo to watch Star Trek TNG. And he actually said, oh, I'll even come up with a list of episodes you should watch so that you can skip the ones I don't think you need to watch.
Oh, yeah. Was that someone that,
He worked right next to us,
Okay.
Yeah, you know that guy.
Yeah. I think that it was just no. The answer is no. I didn't have any preconceived notions. It was just that I knew it was a daunting task to watch that many. I knew somebody in high school that had all the tapes when they had come out.
Yeah.
For the first time on VHS,
mm-hmm.
and they just had TNG, and it was an insane amount of tapes. And I thought I don't have the time. But then
that's the thing.
But then I had seen. I see it's different because it's 22 episodes per season or more.
26.
So it's an insane amount. So it was just daunting and like if I didn't have this, I don't think I'd watch. I would start watching it just because it's so many episodes.
Yeah,
like even like Breaking Bad. It's less episodes,
but even that you still stopped halfway.
And
you're like, I need a break
halfway through.
Yeah, you're like, I need a break.
And I was like, I need a break and just chill. And but I'll watch when we watch The Sopranos for the other podcast. I finished the whole series again. So I don't know. I think I have to be in the mood for it. And
well, I was kind of doing that with TNG by the time we had started the podcast, Ricardo, where I was stalled in the middle of season 3. Like I had stopped there. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was when we began the podcast. And once we started doing the podcast, I was like, well, it doesn't make any sense for me to try to continue my own personal watch through. Yeah. Let's just start from the beginning again.
Yeah. Was that hard? Was that hard to do that?
No, by that point it had been like enough years that like everything was fresh again. So,
and I would say probably because The Sopranos, it's probably because it's so up your alley. You're kind of like, well, I want to keep watching. I want to see the next
but I mean, like, I grew up like
gets back to your Italian American
I think that's
roots.
why also like I remember like names because I mean I grew up on boring movies and the westerns and stuff. I bet you if I would have started watching when I was a kid, I probably would have been hooked. It's just that I didn't.
Yeah.
And there was no one in my family that watched this really.
Same here.
They were all like Western people or like boxing movie people, and so like or Rambo movies.
Also, it's just like I think especially in modern day. It's just so daunting. Like someone tells me to watch One Piece, and I'm like, no, thank you. There's like 2,000 episodes.
Don't worry, they're starting the series over again.
Oh boy,
I don't care.
It's like Dragon Ball Z. Like it was.
And they made Kai. They made Dragon Ball Z Kai in order to shorten it. It's still a lot of episodes.
So I had a lot of friends because they would air them on channel like the Spanish channel as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Because I know a lot of Hispanic kids that like are deep into Dragon Ball because
Dragon Ball Z is literally as big as Jesus in Mexico.
Like it's a joke that you can get a cartel person to like feel bad by saying Goku would hate you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Oh my god. What?
Yeah.
It's a meme.
No, legitimate. The two of the biggest institutions in Mexico is Dragon Ball Z and King of Fighters. These are like hard to fight.
Okay.
So it just was. I missed it, and then I couldn't. But it's weird because like I don't know. It's weird the stuff I got into. Like I've seen every episode of Gilligan's Island and every episode of I Love Lucy.
What the fuck?
I have a theory that Gilligan's Island is just a big filler arc for a bigger anime.
Yeah. The thing is that like they also had an ending. You know what I mean? Like I knew like since they were on reruns, I didn't watch them like when they aired. You know, in like the 50s. So I knew like, oh, I could watch a little bit of it, and if I've seen it, then I could just jet. And I don't have to. You know what I mean? I've seen this episode. Or if it's a good one, I could rewatch it, you know, like the one when they make the chocolates and stuff, or they make the wine.
Did you just say you grew up in the 50s?
No, I said I didn't grow up in the 50s. So like, I didn't watch it live.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm watching reruns and you could, and then those shows are episodes where you don't have to, it's not a narrative where you have to watch every single episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've watched them so many times over and over again. And then I've watched episodes where I'm like almost to the end and I'm like, oh, I remember this one. I had to hit to this part to me to trigger like, oh, I've seen this one. This one's where they pick up the hitchhiker who's a serial killer.
I think for me personally, with my current level of media watching, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like what we said for the Penguin, which is Stay Tuned, where I was like, man, I am really happy that they said from the beginning, this is only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
I definitely want to watch all of it now.
Yeah.
Whereas like, if they're like, maybe there'll be more, then I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch any more of that. So that's kind of where I stand, I guess, where it's just a lot.
I like that things have an ending. I think that's why I like certain British shows. Like, like I really, it's funny because I watched Utopia, the first episode, because we were gonna watch it for the podcast. And then I just started. I kept going. I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And then I've had that too with other shows. Like there's a new show that just premiered a few weeks ago that I know doesn't have like 25 episodes. So I'm like, oh, I'll watch this. The Day of the Jackal.
Oh, okay.
Which is a Sky show in conjunction with like Peacock. But it has a British vibe and it has a British showrunner. So it's got like, we're only going to do a certain amount and then we're out. And I like that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our next question is from Tato. Tato asks, based on what you guys have seen so far, how would you convince a friend or family member to start watching Star Trek?
That depends on the friend or family member and what their preferences are to begin with. Because there are all kinds of flavors of Trek that one can discover, and several flavors of which I have not even tasted yet.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think it depends because there's some that I would be like, oof, yeah, you don't want to watch this. It's not your thing.
But see, I think, and this is me only watching these 2 shows. I think that the universe, the Star Trek multiverse, has so many shows now that I think there's something for everybody. Like, like I remember telling you guys, like I kind of watched I did watch the J.J. Abrams movies. When they aired. I mean, now I've forgotten them. Like the other day, something was playing and I'm like, I don't remember this at all. Like fucking the guy from Stringer Bell's in this movie.
What? Stringer Bell?
The guy from The Wire. What's his name? God damn it! The black Idris British
Elba?
actor. Idris Elba, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the 3rd one. So Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah. So I have forgotten he was in it. So I think this is because I think those are more like clearly they wanted a mass audience and they wanted a wider audience. So they're more they tend to swing more like, hey, look, we could be like Star Wars as well. Like there's action stuff and look these all these action pieces. And I think there's a little bit for everybody. Like I think that new show that's animated is really like it's like I think one of the Rick and Morty guys is writing it, isn't it? Like Lower Decks.
I don't know. Lower Decks, I'm not sure.
I think it's one of the producers from Rick and Morty.
Is it? Okay.
Well, there's 2 animated shows, Lower Decks and Prodigy.
Yeah. And Prodigy's more like a
kid show.
Yeah. So that's the thing is that I don't think I would necessarily even think it's necessary to convince anyone to watch Star Trek. It's like it's such a large cultural thing.
I think it's more like what you like, you know, your friends and you could be like, oh, this personality is more towards this show. Even though I haven't seen them, I'd be like, oh, maybe Discovery's more like a type of show or like Stranger New Worlds, even though I haven't seen them.
Do you like war and crying? Then watch Discovery.
Well, the thing is that like, here's the thing about the difference is that like Star Wars, it's all Star Wars. It's the same universe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's very few that are very different. Like I've been told Andor is very different.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's an exception
because it's a political.
But that's an exception to the rule of how Star Wars normally operates.
Yeah.
So,
but besides that, everything is like a fantasy adventure. Everything has to be a fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
Where this could be well, first of all, it's a sci-fi adventure when it comes to this one.
Right.
Not a fantasy adventure.
Right.
But it could be a fantasy courtroom drama. Mm-hmm. It could be a fantasy, like if it's a holodeck thing, then it's a sci-fi, it's so many genres, but within sci-fi.
Like, I think there's definitely room in the Star Wars universe to have that much like variety and nuance also. It's just that I think in terms of the media like available, it hasn't necessarily been capitalized on.
The people who run it are too afraid to try.
Like, for instance, I haven't seen like The Mandalorian, but like that show in particular, like people like to tout it as like this is distinctly Western as opposed to, or like, I don't know.
But there's large parts of the original Star Wars that felt Western too. I
mean, the original one is just Westerns and samurai movies. That's all they are.
That's the thing. The Mandalorian took like a portion of it and like amplified it. Like from what I understand, it feels like Andor is the only one that did something that was like completely not really done at all before in Star Wars, which is actually closely examining the politics of everything. I guess the prequels thought they were doing that, but they weren't. They were just wasting time, really. Like what Andor did was actually get into the nitty gritty of understanding how the political systems work.
For anyone who has extensive knowledge of the book related universe, we apologize. There's probably some stuff in there that we're ignoring.
Well, that's all non-canon now.
Yeah, which they said like it's non-canon.
Yeah, they just killed it all.
Yeah.
So, to be fair,
legends now that selectively unlegend themselves when they decide it's fine to
but
use.
Also, to be fair, a lot of those books are terrible. Like when you have the books that are like going beyond Return of the Jedi, and it's like, Luke gets married to Mara Jade, and Luke also becomes like a god. He can like use the Force to move planets. And also someone kills Mara Jade. Luke thinks it's this guy, so he immediately chops his head off. And then it turns out it wasn't that guy. So what a great hero. Like,
some people loved it.
But see, that's what I like that's the thing that like I dig about the movie that everybody hates, which is The Last Jedi.
Because they tried.
Yeah, because people do change, and people like, I don't think that, and I don't want to get into the fucking Star Wars bullshit.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we've gotten a little too far into Star Wars by now.
But do you know? But it's in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
On one side, and this side, I feel like even though if I had I'm still on the Star Wars side. You know what I mean? I have a Star Wars tattoo. I don't have a Star Trek tattoo yet. We haven't gotten to 100,000 subscribers.
So
it's coming. It'll happen.
You had gotten to 100,000 subscribers on a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Now
so I got a tattoo.
All right. Well,
but yeah.
All right.
It would have to be the personality that determines what you recommend.
Yeah, exactly. Our next question is from Nora. Nora asks, I know some, if not all, of you have a background in film. I was wondering if you have a favorite early film from before 1950. I took on a couple film history classes and get excited whenever y'all talk about movies. I know some people, you guys are probably going to need to take a look and research some stuff. So I'll go ahead because I made a list just so that I can fill in the time while you guys look for it.
Well, also, before we get into that, I'll just quickly add in an addendum to the previous question.
Okay.
The one thing that I would want to check on or wish I could recommend to people as like an opening salvo for Star Trek's case is The Voyage Home.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I can show them The Voyage Home and them enjoy it, I'll be like, okay, you're gonna be fine.
Are you okay with it being ridiculous?
Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be my litmus test.
So when Nora mentions 1950s movies or movies before 1950, I honestly don't have that many, but I came up with some that I could think of.
Oh, I have so many.
I have some. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a handful for me.
So for me, this is a really, really cop-outy answer because it's so stereotypical. But one of the first ones I really do like, genuinely really like, is Citizen Kane. And in fact, what
was the cutoff year?
Before 1950.
Okay, then My Darling Clementine does apply.
Yes, that is also on my list. A lot of John Ford movies are on my list. Fort Apache. Wagon Master is technically right on 1950, but I had to include it because that's actually my favorite John Ford film. So that's on there. for Citizen Kane, it's actually the only Orson Welles movie I like. I don't like anything else he's made, to be honest. So yeah, that's that. I also like Hitchcock, and he made a bunch of pretty good ones before 1950. But my favorite would probably be Notorious. And then I also really like The Lodger, which is his very first movie. It's a silent film, and the reason I really like it is because he has no sound to use, but he clearly had always wanted to like include sound design. You can tell from his very first movie. There's lots of shots where it evokes the feeling of sounds happening. Like there's a famous shot of something called the glass ceiling, where you see the lodger pacing back and forth above on the second floor, and all the people are looking up at the ceiling and they see a chandelier swinging. It's supposed to imply really heavy, loud footsteps, and they use a glass ceiling to like then transition to it, which I always thought was a really neat thing. And just a weird random one there, Howard Hawks made a movie called Only Angels Have Wings. And I've always really enjoyed that movie because it's a ridiculous premise. It's like, for some reason, we need to deliver mail into a jungle in South America every other day. And it's like the most dangerous job in the world because the airstrip is only like a quarter mile long or something.
Dang, I thought it was going to be related to Angels with Filthy Souls from Home Alone.
So that's that movie always like, it's like a drama, but it's also kind of ridiculous because it's like, who needs this much mail in undeveloped South America? So
they have a lot of subscriptions.
Look, there's a lot going on, okay?
The Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes won't win itself.
So, and they're risking their lives every flight in order to get this mail in there.
I was looking up 12 Angry Men to see if it would apply, but that's 57, so too bad.
Yeah, there's a lot. I was like, oh, it's close, but it technically doesn't count. So
yeah, honorable mention to, other classic films that are past 1950.
I had to Google because I was like, oh, I don't remember the specific years of things, but I'd say like before 1950, there's a couple on the list. Double Indemnity. I've always really liked that movie a lot. Yeah, Marvin and I went to film school together, so these are all like classic film history.
We've all been to film school, actually.
Yeah,
everyone here. So.
Yep.
I ditched most of film school because I had seen the stupid movies.
His Girl Friday. I mean, come on.
Has actually, as I've gotten older, I'm not as fond of His Girl Friday as I used to be.
Like, I will name it easily because it's easy to remember, but I don't remember how much I like it anymore.
I like it.
I think to me, the Howard Hawks specifically screwball of talking a mile a minute now gets to me, where I'm like, I can't even really enjoy this anymore.
Yeah, it's a certain type of film for sure.
Yeah,
the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, classics. Yeah,
love that.
It's been a while since I've seen Singing in the Rain, but that's 52.
Yeah, there's a lot of great ones that start cutting off.
There's also, what else? I'm looking at this list that I like. Oliver Twist, I guess. There's a couple. There's some really good classic films. Oh, Hound of the Baskervilles. Okay, yes.
Yeah, that would be there. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Ooh, The Great Train Robbery.
Detour. Good one. Let's see. Yeah, those are some really great films. All films that are pretty solid for film history. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, those would be my picks, I think.
And now Ricardo will list off an encyclopedically long list of.
I know we're waiting for Ricardo.
Just toss in Buster Keaton in there somewhere.
Yeah, just all the Buster Keatons. Yeah,
definitely.
He was the first Jackie Chan.
Yeah, the OG Jackie Chan.
I mean, Jackie Chan literally said his inspiration wasn't kung fu martial artists; it was Buster Keaton. So.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
It's literally what he said. Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think. So 1950.
Yeah, anything before 1950.
I'm gonna pick one that's from 1950.
Oh, I cheated too and chose something from 1950. So yeah,
I'm gonna go with Panic in the Streets.
Panic in the Streets. I haven't even heard of that.
I was obsessed with that movie for a long time, and for a long time, like that was like my go-to like pandemic movie. You know what I mean? Like
really,
like it was about I'll give you the quick synopsis. So basically, there's a shipment of something that comes in, and fishermen that come from overseas, and a pandemic starts. But at the same time, so Jack Palance is in this. Jack Palance plays like a mobster criminal type. And there happens to be a crime happening when this fisherman comes in from overseas and has this like sickness, and the police are trying to find Jack Palance to find the outbreak monkey person, basically. But he thinks
monkey person.
Yeah, but they basically think like, but he thinks they're after him for the crime that he committed, which is that he murdered a man. So
I see.
So it's a race between
the coincidence that they're after.
Yeah, and it's this like race with this I don't even think he's a detective. I think he's a public health official who's like trying to like detective his way to Jack Palance to find him because he's sick now, and so like he's incubating the whatever the pandemic thing is that they have. I want to say it's kind of like bird flu or something like that, some type of thing. Okay. And it's this like they're making their way through the city, yet trying to track down this like pandemic that's going to break out if they don't find him. And it's directed by Elia Kazan. Actually, it's one of his first movies.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Elia Kazan, who like famously directed James Dean and
yeah. Oh, you know that. Okay.
Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But it's one of his first movies. It's black and white.
We didn't mention Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, did we?
No. You're thinking of
No, I'm just asking if we had mentioned it.
Oh
no, we hadn't mentioned it yet.
Okay, because that's 39. Now I'll add that on.
Yeah.
I also just want to mention there is actually one other Orson Welles film I do like. It's Touch of Evil, but that's 1958, so that doesn't count.
But yeah, this one's 1950, and it's cool because they're talking about things that like we could be dealing with now. It's a very universal type.
Oh, it takes place at the port of New Orleans.
Yeah,
this movie.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It was at that time it still would have been a really heavy port.
Yeah,
import.
So that one, 1948, Key Largo. I think I like it better than the other Humphrey Bogart movies.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what did you say? What was the movie?
Key Largo.
Key Largo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen that one, but it's basically it's a guy who's visiting the family of like a fellow soldier, and he gets stuck there while this gangster and his gang take over this like hotel. And there's a hurricane coming, so they have to like.
Oh shit!
It's like he has to basically protect his I think I don't know if he's a platoon leader or if it's just like he served with him. I can't remember right now, but he has to protect the hotel and the family, and of course the femme fatale is like the sister of his buddy stuff.
Oh, of
course, and he has to protect the hotel and like the dad and stuff who's like in a wheelchair from these gangsters and stuff. But it's John Huston, directed by John Huston.
Okay.
And like two other ones that, of course, The General, which you guys mentioned, like Buster Keaton stuff, which he's like original comedy. But I also like two of the things that I was big into is Duck Soup.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Duck Soup is fantastic. Yes.
And then there's this movie from 1925 that I can't get out of my head. I don't know where I saw it. It wasn't in film school. It was somewhere else. It's called Variety. It's a German movie, and it's about like this. It's like a thriller / drama from like 1925. And it's a silent movie. I think it's a silent movie.
Yeah, it is a silent. I'm looking at it now. Yeah,
and it's about a trapeze artist and like him now running like he used to be part of a great circus, a trapeze artist, him and his wife, and now they run like this like shady like sideshow like carnival thing.
Wow.
And but then there's like this other girl who like joins their troupe, and he's like there's like a weird it's a weird drama with like he's trying to like get with her, and like there's like murder involved, but he's got a kid with his wife. But yeah, that one's I've been every so often I'll think about that, and I'm like, I gotta rewatch that because I remember like being obsessed with it for a while.
All right. You, Ricardo, would have the interesting answers for this one.
Of course. I gotta write these down.
There's a bunch of movies that this guy, you might have heard of him. They either asked Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton, like who he thought was like the funniest person, and he named this Mexican actor called Cantinflas.
Oh, I think I actually remember reading about this interview in
right?
school.
Was it Buster Keaton or was it
I think it was Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton, yeah. And he mentioned this guy. And as a kid, like my grandparents would make me watch all these movies, and they're all funny. They're all funny. Not only is it slapstick, but it's also like he's talking. Imagine like I'm trying to think of what the equivalent is. It'd be kind of like Cockney. Like he's kind of like the Spanish version of that, where he's mixing like regular words with like slang words, and he's really funny. He's like every movie that he's done, and he worked for years. I mean, and I remember when he died, there was like a huge thing. I remember like them like televising the Spanish in the Spanish channel, like his funeral, because like it was a huge thing.
It was Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin said Cantinflas was the best comedian he'd ever seen.
Yeah. And he was in I think the only Spanish movie he did was Around the World in 80 Days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, English movie that he made.
English movie. Yeah.
But he would make a lot of movies that were American movies. He'd do the Mexican version of them. But I always thought like, oh, they're way funnier in Spanish. Like he did the Three Musketeers, but in Spanish, and it was so funny.
Oh.
The biggest thing is there's a movie where he plays a barber, and they bring him a little girl and a little boy, and they tell him, oh, give the little girl curls and then shave the little boy's hair. And the mom comes back and he did the opposite. Like the little girl has a shaved head and the little boy has curls.
Oh no, it was an honest mistake.
Yeah. But all his movies are great, and he has a ton of them before like the 1950s. If you could find them on YouTube, probably.
Okay. Well, thank you for. I knew you would have the more interesting answer.
I love it.
So I was trying to look up one last French film because I knew it was really old. I didn't know how old, but it was the Monsieur Hulot's Holiday. Les Vacances de Monsieur Hulot, or however you spell that or say that. But only because the opening scene cracks me the hell up. It's that train station, and the intercom speaker gets on, and it's unintelligible, like and it's entirely on purpose.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
You can just find that clip on YouTube. Just find that. That's hilarious.
All right.
Did you ever see that movie? Remember that movie? You probably saw the American version. It was called Just Visiting. I have not. It was with like Christina Applegate, and it was about these like knights that get sucked into like Merlin's like portal, and they get brought into the world.
Oh, this fucking thing.
The French one is amazingly funny, and it's the same French actors that play them in it's Jean Reno, I think.
I see it now. Yeah.
It's amazingly funny. It's one of the funniest things you'll see. But watch the original French one. The American one's not bad, but it's just. It'll make you crack. It'll crack you up. Yeah.
Oh, like a fish out of water time travel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. In the American version, it's Christina Applegate who finds them, and but the French one's just funnier.
Well, our next question is from Patrick, and I guess this is more of me also asking you guys too and what you guys think. So Patrick asks, at the end of DS9 in 2030, will you watch the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind? And that's something I wanted to ask you guys, engage what you guys wanted to do. So basically, What We Left Behind is basically like 20 or so years later, I think. Ira Steven Behr makes a documentary where he gathers as many of the remaining cast members of DS9 as he can. And they all just reminisce on the show, and they also do a table read of a script that would have been a continuation if the show had gone on.
Written by whom?
By Ira Steven Behr.
Okay.
So is that something you guys would want to watch after the show is done?
I would definitely want to watch that. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
We make it to the end of the show, then no reason not to go for that next.
Okay.
And this is 20 years later, you say?
Yeah, I think like 20 years after the show ended, I think.
God, are they all still alive?
Some aren't.
Wait, so is it recent? Sad. Is it a recent documentary?
Yeah, it's fairly recent. One of the more notable things about it is that it has a few actually remastered shots of Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
because they requested specific shots and then they went back to the original film and rescanned them. But they can't do that for every shot of Deep Space Nine because so much of it had
cost money.
And it will cost money, but also a lot of it was based on CG where the assets no longer exist.
Yeah.
So
they'd have to rebuild them from scratch, basically.
Yeah, they have to rebuild all the plates, and so that would which in TNG they did for a few things, like at the beginning of in data lore when the crystalline entity showed up, they had lost that CG model. So they had to rebuild it from scratch. And if you compare them, they're not similar at all, actually, because it's really hard for something that complex to be perfectly rebuilt.
Yeah.
So they just built something in HD. But, okay, well, yeah, we might give it a shot. Let's see how we feel in another 10 years.
How many seasons are there of DS9?
There are 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine.
Holy shit. Yeah. We might be it might be 20 years for us. And we'll get to that.
we might be dead by then.
So. Well, yeah, the world might be over at that point, so I'm not sure.
That's why I'm like, maybe I'll just jump ahead and watch Lower Decks. It looks funny.
You won't remember it. I mean, knowing you,
yeah, that's true. I'll forget about it by the time we get to it.
But what I don't want to happen is if you watch Lower Decks and it makes you curious about something that you start asking us about, and we don't know it yet because it's something that hasn't happened.
Yeah. I think the two things that I will do is if I watch Lower Decks or the Orville, I'll watch it. I'll like stream it on the Discord channel, and then then somebody will have. If I have questions, maybe people will be like, I'll be like, hey. Try not to do spoilers, but like, what the fuck does this mean? Yeah, I mean,
well, I think Orville makes more. Orville doesn't. I mean, it's a completely different
Orville
thing.
Peck?
Yeah, it's a completely separate entity.
Orville Peck.
So, I think you could watch Orville without any issues whatsoever. Lower Decks, from what I understand,
it just looks really funny, and I want to watch it.
But I also, from what I can tell, a lot of it is in jokes. So it might be difficult to find some of the more meta stuff funnier. Like it's very meta. But the meta means you understood that part of the show because you've seen it already, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure how much of it would land for someone. And apparently most of it is TNG meta.
Well, we're almost done, so
I have heard that it also dips, fairly well into just other 90s era Trek because, it's all the same general time period, but
yeah. Well, this kind of goes really well into our next question from Marz with the Z. Do you guys, as of right now, see an endpoint to this podcast? Do you see yourselves going all the way to modern Trek, or do you see there being a finish line? I don't know.
I would love to keep going as long as the world will have us. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how long.
So long as I'm still enjoying the Trek I'm watching.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm down, of course.
I think that's the thing. I think it's so long as the process of doing the podcast is still enjoyable, I would keep doing it. But if it started becoming like, oh, this isn't fun anymore, then there's no point. Yeah. That's sort of where I'm at, I guess. Because,
I can agree with that.
Because ultimately, we're doing it for fun. So that's a big part of it. All right, that's a quick one. And our last question, it's from Tyler392. How has having a successful podcast affected your lives? Does it affect your dynamic as a friend group? Well, I mean, successful is very subjective.
Yeah.
No, I would we can call this successful.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Dan, for allowing us to compliment ourselves, because the negativity in me is like, oh, I'm nothing. This is, I'm me, whatever.
Don't insult all the people out there who don't have podcasts with this listenership.
I think for me, specifically because Ricardo is the one who got me into podcasting by asking me to do a few episodes of the film podcast.
And by extension, me.
Yeah, and then by extension.
me.
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten, so I've known Dan the longest. So I've known him for a long time. Literally more than half my life. And I live with Sarah, and Sarah's my romantic partner. So I know her although there's been a few things in the podcast where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy that the podcast has brought out. So that's been interesting.
Wow, dude.
But I think the podcast has gotten me to know Ricardo much better. Because I think...
Oh, for sure.
Well, I think like we were like good work. Well, we were like really good work friends, right?
Yeah.
But there's a difference between work friends and just overall friends anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, so I think it sort of became more of like, oh, I'm getting to know Ricardo a lot better. Because I think especially when we first started Newbie Star Trek, it was like we were all feeling a bit more formal. I remember sometimes I listen back to the first episode and I'm like,
it does feel so
we
formal.
were like, hello, welcome to Newbie Star Trek, where I'm Marvin. I'm here with Dan and Ricardo.
You guys sound like you're on NPR or something.
And then
that's how I feel like the film one is.
Well, the film podcast, and it had much more of a structure to its introduction and things like that.
And then Ricardo, I always remember Ricardo broke the ice by saying, because I was like, I like TNG and DS9. What do you like, Dan? And Dan was like, I like TNG. I haven't seen much TOS, blah, blah. And then Ricardo said, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This sounds like cleaning products. And so that kind of broke the ice. And we're like, okay, so this will be this type of show.
We can be fun.
Because we didn't know what we were making at the time.
It does sound like cleaning products.
Well, if we weren't going to make a show like that, I don't think I would have been all that interested to stick around if it was just nothing but like, hey, this is the episode we're discussing today. And we can't like make even one stray observation about.
Yeah, or go on one tangent. Come on.
That's the funny part. There's like, I mean, actually these comments have died down a lot, but maybe like a year or so ago, there were so many people who said like, just stick to the Star Trek. Don't talk about something else. And I'm like, but that's every Star Trek podcast. Like, is that what you want?
That's not how the human mind works. You know what I mean? Like, we're just people we're just friends.
Yeah. Have you guys not ever done cocaine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you never experienced your brain on cocaine? That's not how it works. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're all over the place.
Yeah. It's also worth remembering for listeners at home that when the premise of the show is that one is a newbie, they're not going to be an expert on something that can talk at length about it for, accurately.
And it needs to relate to their own life experience so that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a certain level of what were you expecting that comes with that. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's definitely allowed me to get to know Dan and Ricardo and, of course, even Marvin more. And we get to hang out every week and talk and discuss movies and scripts and writing, and we're all film people and media people and writing people, and we love talking about that kind of stuff. So it's really refreshing to talk about it in a fun way, where sometimes we have to talk about it in a professional, like, day job way, which is not fun sometimes. So this is fun, I think. It's always been fun for me. It's
also like made us hang out more. I mean, like, because not just digitally like we do here, but like, Ricardo will be like, let's go get some K barbecue, man. And we'll be like, okay, let's go. And then
we do hang out, and it's also nice to just get to know a community of people and bond with a community of people that I was not part of that community. So I love the Star Trek fans. Everyone's been super accepting and very open and friendly. And it's nice to join a community of people who genuinely love this show and appreciate everything we're doing. So yeah, I'm very thankful. Has it changed my life day to day? I can't leave my house without being recognized personally. It's really difficult, but I get by. So
that's sarcasm, if anyone couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, this podcast has given at least myself a place I can look to for, people who are appreciative of things that we do. Yeah. And it's definitely a mood booster on days where the rest of what we do in our lives aren't, isn't really lining up the way we'd like. But, the fans of this show and the fans of Star Trek and things like that are making, they're a source of good vibes, honestly.
Yeah.
Very good vibes.
Our Discord's nothing but good vibes.
Oh, it's so inspiring. Very inspiring. And I'm so internally happy to have the Discord channel, and you see the comments and the emails and whatever Marvin reads to us, the letters people write in. It means so much to us.
Yeah, like people watching this show are sometimes the only assurance I have left in the world that people remember what Simpsons is.
That is a good fucking point, Dan.
Yeah, like out in the public world, it is becoming rarer and rarer to find people who will just pick up on a reference because you say one. In fact, it's incredibly rare now.
Yeah.
For Simpsons, yeah, it's very rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What was the question?
The question was,
we've answered it.
but just to reiterate for Ricardo, how has having a successful podcast affected your lives? Does it affect your dynamic as a friend group?
Nah.
It's brought us closer.
I wouldn't know Ricardo at all if it weren't for this podcast.
I wouldn't know him either. Yeah. If it weren't for this podcast, I knew Ricardo in the terms of like, oh, it's my partner's work friend, like, and I'll occasionally hear a story or two.
We went out to eat steaks once. Also, I gave him a knife once, and then you gave me a Mexican coin.
Yeah. But that was it, It's
was it you who freaked out? You're like, what does this mean? What are you doing? What does this mean? And I'm like, well, you have to give, and then you like went in a deep dive about what.
Yes. Yeah.
It was you.
Yeah. Cause I was like, okay. Cause the story was Ricardo was on the subway.
And I was taking the subway to back home across the hill because there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I see a lady being hassled. So I'm going to like just quietly go up to her and be like, hey, use this if you need to. And you gave her your knife.
Yeah. Well, here, I'll clarify here. Okay. It wasn't, okay. She was a really young 20-something girl. Mm-hmm. And I had come out of work really late that day. It was like,
yes, that's the other thing. You came out.
Like
you were in OT that week.
Midnight or like, it was really late.
Yeah.
And she was coming back from, we worked in the very popular part of town. A lot of tourists, a lot of bars. And
if you know what we mean.
A lot of shady people.
Yeah. And so she had come from a club and there was people talking to her and she was going the opposite way than where I was going. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't have time to, plus it's like, it's weird if I follow her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it just like, I'm like, I put myself in her position. I'm like,
don't do that.
I get my intention, but it's weird. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there was dudes trying to talk to her, like clearly, because she was visibly a little buzzed.
Yeah.
And so I went up to her and I'm like, hey, these guys are bothering you. I literally can't go that way to just make sure you're fine. Get off your stop. Here, take this knife in case something happens. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. And she took it. And I'm like, oh, thank God she took it. Because just in case.
Right.
And at that time, we all carried knives all the time. At least I carried a knife all the time.
Yeah. And at the time, I also used to everyday carry a knife. And I was like, well, you deserve a replacement knife, Ricardo. So I gave him mine. Yeah. And then the next day, Ricardo was like, for your knife, I give you this coin. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? It has boobs on it. Where did you get this Mexican coin with boobs on it? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's the whole thing. This is a thing.
Like if somebody gives you a knife, you're supposed to give them a coin back or it severs the friendship.
It's like the John Wick assassin coin.
Wow.
Yeah. If anybody gives you like a knife, like technically like as a gift, like Marvin gave it to me out of his pocket. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a gift wrap thing, but technically you're supposed to give like the coin within the gift. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, because that way they instantly give it back to you. And it counts, you know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. But that's only if you're giving it as a gift. That's an old fucking like thing. Like I think it's an old hunter's thing or something.
Okay.
But I gave you a coin and it didn't sever the friendship.
I need to look that up myself later.
So it worked. It did work.
Yeah, it worked.
And then later we watched.
I love these like old wives' tales.
Yeah.
And then later we watched.
It's weird because I think a lot of them are bullshit and I won't subscribe to them. But there's some that I'm like, I've
the knife ones.
Yeah, like it's funny because like I thought about it like, oh, it's stupid that I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to take him a coin, then like have to explain it. You know what I mean? But then
the problem with traditions is that they can be dumb or cool.
I know.
But why chance it? You know, like if you don't do it, maybe it will happen.
I want to tell a story about Marvin.
Okay.
we used to have boring meetings. It was like once a month, I think, or like every other month or something.
Yeah.
It was once a month, I think.
Yeah.
And they were boring, and like you would just fucking stare down someone who would ask a stupid question right before the end. It's like the stupid meetings that you have to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, different people would have different types of fidget spinners just because, it's just boring. Like, some people would mess with their phone,
Yeah.
And you would hear under the table, you'd hear this. Marvin fucking slapping open his fucking pocket knife and closing
Seriously?
it. Yeah. So it'd be funny because like if
someone was threatening people at work, like what the fuck?
I could not get away with that where I work.
I didn't even realize I was doing it. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's not okay. Oh my god! Like
great.
This guy's flipping his pocket knife at me. Like
to be fair, there was nothing professional about that job.
Or nothing professional about that meeting.
Yeah.
Nothing professional about the position.
Yeah.
Nothing professional about the room we worked in.
Yeah.
Nothing professional about the producers we worked with.
Yeah. we had let me tell some stories. Reveal some stories. We used to work and they moved us floors to a higher floor.
Because they were doing construction.
Yeah, because they were doing construction. And we used to work next to a very popular hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And our windows were like a football throw away from each other's windows, right?
Yeah,
like,
literally if you threw a baseball, it would hit it for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I use the football because it's bigger, and it takes more strength, but like it's that close.
Yeah.
If you jump from one roof to the other, you probably make it. That's how close they were.
No, that wasn't that close.
If you were Usain Bolt, dude, you know what I mean? You probably make it.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt had a chance.
Yeah. So we would work. Sometimes we would work OT. Different groups of people would work OT, and we started noticing. Me and this coworker of ours that shall go, named Slady, and we noticed that once the lights went down, the lights turned on in the hotel.
Oh yeah,
and you could see everything. Especially we were so high that you were looking down at like every room,
all the detail.
And then me and this said coworker, she got a whiteboard and we started a count of all the nudity that we would watch on a nightly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So, we would have B for boobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And butts, and like we would see full on bush sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And the things we saw, dude.
Wow.
So many people like to have sex with their windows open.
Oh yeah.
There was one time we finally brought binoculars in.
The binoculars.
And then we would like scan around and be like, oh, straight up intercourse happening right now. Let's look at that.
No, you didn't need them. You didn't need them.
I mean, if you wanted a closer look and as you're scanning,
but it is not illegal to do that, dude. I want to point out that it's not.
It is now illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, how else are you going to pass the work day?
One time it was one of those days. You know how like it gets dark earlier. Time changes.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a producer, a female junior producer in the room who is not like, she's very like, she's not like conservative or anything. She's just a little uptight.
Mm-hmm.
And this other coworker of mine that we kept a tally. She hits me in the shoulder. She's like, oh, and like there's someone like going at it, dude. And it's in a big window.
Yeah.
And we turn around because everyone turns around because the room was full of people.
Yeah.
Everyone turns around because they hear her like slap me on the shoulder and then yell, oh, and everyone turns around and everyone, it's like a magnet. Everyone's eyeballs just, and this producer just yelled, oh.
Oh my gosh.
And we all just sat there and like, 2 minutes later it was done. And we were like, wow, that was fast. We literally just a group full of quote unquote professional people just sat here and watched this dude finish.
Yeah. I mean,
in between Nerf gun fights. Yeah.
Look, they want to be seen. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. And I've seen my fair share of just these people having sex in hotels in front of windows and stuff. Like it's been crazy.
Yeah. Yep. This place had a beer on tap that you can get like right before you clock out. Like the end of the day was 6, and then around 5 you could start drinking. They would let you drink.
Yeah. There's a certain
no one was really
that had
watching.
It available. Yeah.
Yeah. No one was watching. So as the years went by, the drinking started earlier, and we got to a point where it was like it's 10 a.m. We've been here for like an hour, dude. Half an hour.
Yeah.
Also, there were certain producers where if you were friendly with them, they'd be like, "Oh, you can. My bar cart's right in the corner. You can come in whenever you want.
Yeah,
and just grab stuff."
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah. So.
I'm just kidding.
Yep. That's what our old job was like.
Yep.
I had never been to a job like that since. I don't know if it can exist anymore. That type of job.
Yeah.
In that environment.
Now, probably not now.
Yeah.
I probably could. But
with that level of debauchery, I don't know.
And the thing is, like, okay. Here's. I was gonna make a statement, but I think I'm wrong. But no, I think I'm right. There was never any HR complaints against each other.
Oh no, not at all.
There was one HR complaint, but it was towards the producer who would come into the room.
Yes,
and he made but it's funny because he made a comment that we would make all the time. But basically, this person was like, "We're okay with that because it's us." It was basically like us versus them, and it's like, it's not okay that they did it, and we usually wouldn't make jokes like that in front of producers.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like crossing the line, but we got brought in by our boss because she had heard that we had done jokes like that too, made jokes like that. But our boss was like, "Hey, this isn't about you guys, but because it was brought to our attention, we have to bring it up." But it wasn't. It's not you. It's somebody else.
Also, we had a boss or a few bosses who would tell us, "Hey, I covered for you guys, but you're getting really close to causing a problem. So we just need to hold it back for a week." And then
oh my god!
Yeah, basically, like they'd be like, "Hey, they're kind of keeping an eye on you, so just be careful for the next week." And then like
just
it would pass
lay low for a little bit.
Yeah.
Stop,
but we were
don't
loud.
light fires in the editing bay for a week. Then
we did light a fire in there. We were trying to. We're playing the game where you try to like you know the football game, the field goal game.
Yeah,
but we're playing with matches.
Yeah.
And someone lit the carpet on fire.
Oh my god!
Well, also fires were lit in an attempt to summon Bagul.
Yeah, so. A demon. Didn't work out. I think it got everybody fired, to be honest.
Oh my god!
It sounds crazier and crazier all the time.
I mean,
we haven't told you some of the worst ones, just so we don't get sued.
That's fine.
But
also none of this is like locker room
committed
talk
to recordings.
I just want to go on the record. None of this is like locker room talk. We did something like bad to people stuff.
No.
It's just like
you just watch them having sex from afar.
Yeah.
It's just more of like if I admitted I did this, my previous bosses would be like, "Wow,
we paid you that? How much for an hour for this?"
Yeah, exactly.
So and also I would say that like we had a female coworker who was like our barometer. Like she was like our compass. And like we had two female coworkers who would they would lead kind of like, "Okay, you guys went too far," or like, "No, you can say this." Like the only rule I think from a person who I became really close to, this female coworker of mine. She moved away from town, and I'm still close to her. I text with her literally on a daily basis.
Right.
And she would say, "You can say whatever you want in this room with me in it. Just don't ever call me a bitch. But anything goes." And I'm like, "Everything, even the C word?" She's like, "Everything."
Wow.
Don't call me a bitch.
The C word too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And she was the one who dropped it the first time.
That's an odd line to draw when the C word's okay.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. But we always had somebody to like be our barometer. But me and another coworker did a lot of jackass shit, like where we would like hurt each other.
That's the type of shit that was going on.
Yeah.
It's like stupid
jackass shit,
stupid, dumb, idiot stuff.
Yeah,
like we're gonna like light stuff on fire, or we're
everything
going to,
in an attempt to make other people in the room laugh.
Yeah, or we have watched an HR video that says as long as you generally yell "fuck" instead of at a person, that's not an HR violation. So we would just yell "fuck" in a corner really loud, but towards our supervisor.
You could even so like I think Marvin was on. I think you took a class, a class, and you came. I don't think this is fucking real, dude. No. He came back. Marvin came back, and he's like, "Hey, I heard in this video," and we believe them like idiots. It's probably fucking wrong, dude. He's like, Marvin comes in and he's like, "Guys, I just watched this HR video." And I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Turns out you can call your boss a piece of shit as long as you're not looking at them and you're looking away." I'm like,
I wasn't calling you a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I was just calling that spot on the carpet a piece of shit.
He's like, as long as you don't turn around and look at somebody. because I would call my coworker a piece of shit all the time.
Oh my God.
And he's like, you can call our boss a piece of shit as long as you're facing the wall and not facing them. And making eye contact.
You took what I said and ran with it. So what I said was, because this is the exact example they showed in a video. The boss comes into the room where his employees are working and yells, "Fuck you!" But like generally, then leaves. That is not an HR violation.
Yeah.
If he went to a specific employee and said, "Fuck you, Brett," and that's his name, that is an HR violation.
Well, people are not his name.
I understood it wrong, dude.
No. Fuck you, Tabitha. And it's Brett.
I used to do that. So let's call our boss, our manager, Tim.
Yeah.
And Tim was cool. And when Tim would assign me work, I would turn around into the wall and go, "Fuck you, Tim! I'm gonna fucking kill you, you piece of shit."
Oh my God.
And he would
laugh. That's perfectly okay.
And he would laugh. Yeah. And I'm like, "You can't fire me because I said it to the wall." And
I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. I even called my boss once a bitch. But I was facing the wall and I didn't get fired.
I think a large part of also why we got away with it is because we all actually did work really hard.
We did.
It was a
that
lot
part is almost never emphasized for you guys.
Yeah.
Just remind everyone listening that you actually did your work.
We did our work and we often did it ahead of schedule. So
and often like it was a type group because even if somebody had like even if someone had a lot of work on their plate, we would jump in, like we would become distributed, jump in and get this fucking over with, and we could fuck around. Like it was everything was in the service of fucking around. So a lot of work got done fast.
Yeah,
because we knew that we could do work in 2 hours and then fuck around for 3. You know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, like I remember one time it was like a producer came in. We had just finished a bunch of assets, like 10 assets at once. They were just finished. And then she was like, "Okay, and now we'll do the subtitles." And we're like, "What? What subtitles? Do you have any idea how difficult subtitles are to do?" No one told us. We needed to be told months in advance that subtitles are part of the pipeline. Which was like, "Oh, well, we need these by tomorrow." So everyone got on board, split up the assets, all of the subs, so that no one had to do a long OT session. Yeah, and that's I
think everybody stayed for like an extra hour or 2.
Yeah,
just so one person wouldn't stay for 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she also did it towards end of day.
Yeah,
and we were like, "What the fuck?" Like, so
But it was that type of thing where like also like you knew how much something would take, and then we were like, "Well, if you could beat our record to make that happen." We'll just say, like, if something takes 2 hours to do and we do it in 30 minutes because we fucking just everybody teams up and does it, then we literally have so much time to fuck around with because they think we're going to, I mean, it was all about time management and how much we could fuck around. And I think that's what made it the worst job and the best job. It was the worst job and the best job.
It goes back to Scotty's advice.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you everybody for thank you to our Discord for all the questions. This is, it's always a chill thing we do at the end of every year, and it was very interesting this year. A lot to talk about, and I guess we'll see you guys next time. I know last episode I had said we're gonna do lessons, but I had forgotten we were doing this AMA episode. So
the next episode recording will be lessons. We didn't lie.
So the next episode we're gonna actually do lessons. And if you guys like what we did, you can head on over to fugitiveframes.com. We have links to all of these other things we do in general. One of them is the Would You Stay Tuned podcast. We still haven't recorded that episode of Utopia yet. Right now, I think because of the holiday season, we might not record it. Probably won't record it till next year in January. But we're gonna get there. There's a lot of other discussions you can listen to there. We like both our Penguin episode 1 discussion and then Penguin full series recap discussion because we really like the Penguin. Let's see what else we did. We had a Scott Pilgrim one, we had a Breaking Bad one, a Sopranos one, all sorts of stuff that we discussed. So you can check that out at Would You Stay Tuned. That's just wherever you can find podcasts. There's also a YouTube channel for that too if you want to check it out there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, happy holidays.
And if you can join our Discord, I would definitely say become a member, join our Discord, get episodes early for members.
Yeah.
$1.99 a month.
Yeah.
Which is a bargain in my opinion, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And I hope everyone has a great holiday season as much as you can.
Yeah.
And stay safe. And as always, I'm forever thankful for the support and the love everyone shows us. So
absolutely,
you guys are amazing.
Don't stay safe. Why risk it? We could die tomorrow. Fucking get out
Fuck
there,
it.
Chop it up, dude.
Live every minute like it's your last, okay?
Wrap it up, everybody.
Life is what you make it.
Wrap up those gabbles,
it.
bees.
Yes.
Go out there, chop it up. Go to some fucking dog fights and just, get out there.
Yeah.
Do something you're afraid to do.
Yeah.
Jump out of a plane.
A good one.
Yeah.
Not a long one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Go put a girl through college or a man. Either is good with me.
I mean,
get out there.
Like Anthony Bourdain used to say, don't treat your body like a temple, treat it like an amusement park.
Hell yeah. Fun. I agree with that more as I get older. I agree with that so much.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Goodbye.
Bye. Catch you next time.